Hey everybody, welcome to Bumbling Acres. This is Joseph Simon. I hope you all are doing well. This will be a pretty quick video. It's just over the book recommendations and over an equipment setup and kind of some general guidance through that. Welcome to Bumbling Acres. We are a small homestead located in southern Indiana. We raise chickens, turkeys, geese, rabbits, and pigs. Join us while we work to foster a healthy relationship between each other, our land, our greater community. We upload new content regularly and appreciate you being with us today. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos and share them with your friends. Thank you. When it comes down to books to read as the partner, for one, there's Ina May's Childbirth Guide. I highly recommend your wife, girlfriend, whoever it is that's going through the birth, read that book. Ina May Gaskin is a huge advocate for trusting yourself as a woman, trusting her body, and kind of helps with comfort, which is so important during the birth process. So really recommend that book. But books that I read, other than I also read that also is a great book to read as your partner, as the laborer reads it. If they come across something important that touches them that they want you to know, they may not be comfortable discussing that with you directly. They can highlight that chapter and just have you read that chapter, and that may be a good way to start a discussion over something that they are comfortable, something they need to discuss with you. But books that I read that I thought were very important and good books to read that I highly recommend a partner read. We have the We're Pregnant book, First Time Dads. This is my first time father. Me and Deborah have a 17-year-old son from her previous marriage. Wonderful son. He's mine. I'm formally adopting him. But this was the first time I had gone through the labor and delivery process. First time I'd ever had a girlfriend of mine or wife get pregnant. So We're Pregnant, First Time Guide. Honestly, I'm still going to read this should we get lucky enough to get pregnant again. And the nice thing about this is it's very short to the point, and it's broken up in sections, so you can go through and look at your foreword and talk about what things that actually matter to you. You know, what's on your mind is important, and you can go through. So it's very clear for that. It's got good guides, so kind of cheat guides over what you're looking for. So if you don't have a lot of time to read, I don't, I'm on work, you can kind of break it up into highlighted sections and break it down, make it easier. The next was The Birth Partner. This is a really kind of much more detailed than this, as you can tell. And it has a lot more information in it. It gets a little bit more clinical at times, which is very important. Once again, for me, it's about the why. It's understanding the motivations. Why, understanding what's going on in your partner's body as she's going through the laboring process will help you be a good partner during the laboring process. So, very important book. Those two books, if you get the chance to read them, I highly recommend them. Order them. You can get them used pretty cheap. I don't have one of those Amazon partner things set up, or I just give you a link to it. But if you get a chance, read those two books. And that being said, anything that you read about delivery, pregnancy, labor, will help you as the partner. And anything you can encourage the laborer to read can help them and broach discussion points. Like, you know, you need to talk about postpartum. You need to talk about, as a home birth, you need to talk about the what if scenarios of what if you have to transfer? What if the pain goes beyond a certain point? What if, God forbid, your baby has an issue that requires being taken to the hospital? You know, you need to have those conversations beforehand. You don't need to have an all-out exhaustive ones on those negative ones, but it is important as you prepare for the labor and delivery that you have that conversation about, well, hon, should the baby have respiratory? Not all babies, especially if it's early, lungs may not be developed enough to be fully supportive. So it may require transportation. We had that talk with our midwife. Our midwife, at one point, we felt really sure. I felt like I was positive baby was going to come early. Baby didn't. In the process of talking with our midwife, about the option of how early is too early for a home birth. We were having that conversation, and our baby wasn't early. But that's an important conversation to have with your midwife. Part of the reason you need to read books like this is so that you can come to your midwife's meetings with questions. It's not just having the midwife guide through the entire world. Our midwife is great. We met with our midwife, I think it was every 2 weeks, up until it was like a month throughout the process. Then as labor, I think at the 36th week, it was we met at 36th week, then the 38th week, then it was every week, so at 39 and then at 40. But even meeting with our midwife, I think it was a half an hour meeting at those times, maybe 45 minutes. And she did great, but she's not going to be able to field every question you may have and tailor out what exactly you're looking for. So that's huge. That's important. So these books will give you ammunition to discuss with your midwife. Next thing that I would talk about is the supplies that you need. We had a birthing pool. In fact, it's right here. We did an Intex birth pool, which is great. Blew up real big. It's actually got where it blows. When you're looking for a birthing pool, you obviously want one. You want it to be at least 2.5 feet off where it fills up. You're going to want enough water for your partner, the laborer, to be mostly submerged in. And that means that you're going to need at least 2 feet of standing water. Like really, at least. And then the reality is you want something that they can lean on the sides, because part of the laboring process will be leaning. So you need it to hold. I got in the laboring pool with my wife at one point during when laboring gets stalled, and to help her through it. So it needs to be able to displace enough, for 2 people to be in it. As the birth partner, if you're needing to get in the pool, you get in the pool. Shields. We went and just grabbed some. I think it was Lowe's. Self-adhesive. Ours was slick when wet. Not a good plan if your idea is so that your wife, when her water breaks, can walk around. Honestly, I fell at one point walking around. Just slipped. My legs went right out from under me because water broke in my wife, and I knew my wife's water broke at 2:30 in the afternoon. 20.5 hours later, delivery occurred, but from about 2:30 till probably around 1 in the morning, my wife we kind of made a little mound of towels she could sit on in the living room. When water breaks, for my wife, it broke. It was an impressive amount of water, and it didn't just stop after the water broke. So she needed to have something under her for at least 12 hours. So when you set up that, make sure it's not slippery when it's wet, because it's going to get wet, and the last thing you want is to fall like I did. I went feet up in the air, fall. So that's important when you're talking about self-adhesive carpet shields. Equipment. There is an aquarium attachment that you can hook into your faucet, and it allows you just to turn on the hot water, and water goes into the faucet, and actually has a setting where it will drain it as well. But make sure if you do use that draining apparatus, I hadn't even thought about this till my father came by, that we have a septic in our yard, and if we had 300-400 gallons of water all pouring into it, and you have to have the nozzle running, so that's a lot of water for your septic. So if you're going to use something like that, our draining method, I actually, if you watch our videos, I use collect rainwater for totes, and all I did was run the hose out of the window into the drainage line for my totes, and therefore it created enough suction to empty the water out without it all going into. So if you're going to use those aquarium things, which is actually pretty convenient, you'll need to make sure that that you've got a drainage system that doesn't all go into your septic. That's not good for a septic system to have hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water all just poured into it. When the water breaks for your wife, your partner, you need to know where your water heater is and to turn your water heater temperature up. It's not a complicated endeavor. Ours was, there's 2 little shields, pulled them off, just just usually there's a standard screwdriver that you'll need to do, number 2 generally. So you just unscrew those 2 main screws, the shields come off, and there's a flathead or standard screwdriver. So you got your Phillips, which is the plus sign, excuse me, and then your standard, which is the minus sign. All you do is just, you'll see a nozzle. Ours has a little nozzle that shows the temperature, and you just flip it over to the hottest it will be, and then it heats up the water so that you're not having to like boil water. If you're going to do that, make sure you tell any guests or anyone in your house that their hot water heater is turned way up. And remember to turn it down afterwards. That's pretty hard on a water heater, so you wouldn't want your water heater running like that indefinitely. And if you have an older water heater, you'll want to be wary about taxing it that much. So ours is relatively new, was in good condition. We didn't mind doing that. If we had had an older water heater, I probably would not have done that. I just would have done the traditional boiling water method, because the last thing, as much as it would have stunk to have to heat water and pour boiling water into it, it would have been a lot worse to have no water, to have no heated water at all. So those are important. Other than that, lots of towels. Make sure you have lots of towels. And honestly, rather than go out and buy a lot of towels, just go and you'll need at least 2 or 3 fresh towels for the baby when the baby's born. When it comes down to supplies, it's a pretty simple endeavor at that point. Your midwife will have any medical things she might need. There's usually like a little birth package. Your midwife will guide you that you'll need to purchase to have on hand. That's pretty easy to get. The birthing pool, honestly, was difficult to come across. The ones that work well for birthing, as soon as the manufacturers are in that, the price went up on. That's really all you need. You're not going to have as much stuff around you for a home birth, and you really don't want a lot of stuff around you for a home birth. When it comes down to the area, we had a pretty large bedroom. That's what your setup's all about, making things comfortable. So try to make this quick and easy. If you have questions about anything else, let me know. That was what I'd recommend, the books to read and resources for setting up. It's not a lot of stuff. You don't need a lot for a home birth. And that's nice. It's in the comfort of your own home. We had candles, if your labor is a candle person, set up some candles. My wife had set up like an affirmation wall where it said things that would be motivational statements during home birth. Honestly, she didn't even read any of them and doesn't feel like they were that beneficial for her, but that might be beneficial for your partner. That's what matters. So read the books, ask the questions. If there's anything you have for me or any questions you have, give me a call, let me know. Or message and comment. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Bye.